Hey everyone, this is James, the Notorious banker, with a very special commentary. Get a load of this guy right here. Bank of America market executive arrested for taking bribes from customers. A total, just astounding story, as told by Austin Weinstein in the Charlotte Observer. I'll get to the story in a second, and I'll give you my commentary. But this guy's a real winner. But what have I been saying? For 15 years now, 13 years working in the banking industry, 2 years plus as a notorious banker, people in middle and upper management at big banks, a lot of them do unethical things that should, put them in handcuffs and send them to the nearest federal prison. That's my personal opinion on it. That's what I saw. That's what I believe. That's what I feel. This gentleman here was taking advantage of customers for his own personal gain, going against every code of ethics thing that Bank of America stands for. And believe me, they hold on to that code of ethics like they're you know what. It's ridiculous. I want to share with you this story in the Charlotte Observer. I'm going to link to it in my notes here, but it's really an astounding story, and it's just an amazing tale of banker gone wrong, bankers gone wrong. And the headline is Bank of America exec arrested for bribery, Fed say banker ran kickback scheme. A kickback scheme. So it says a former New York-based Bank of America executive received tens of thousands of dollars at a time in cash bribes, tens of thousands at a time in cash bribes, federal prosecutor said, in exchange for fraudulently helping a New Jersey firm get a line of credit at the bank. Kurt Phelps, the executive, was arrested October 29th and charged with bank bribery and conspiracy to commit bank fraud. Phelps' arrest is a rare instance of an executive at a major U.S. bank arrested for their conduct as a banker. And you got that right. It's very rare that an executive gets arrested for what they did inside a bank. Ask former Wells Fargo CEO John Stump, who was part of the massive Wells Fargo unauthorized account scandal, for God's sakes. Federal prosecutors accused Phelps of a bribery scheme in which he coached StarNet Business Solutions. It just sounds like a fake business in my personal opinion. I Googled it, it's real, but it just sounds fake. A Mawa, New Jersey print shop, hope I said that right, to falsify financial records to get a line of credit from the bank in exchange for cash. Phelps pocketed hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes over a number of years, prosecutors said. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in bribes. Give me a freaking break. This guy's a market executive, okay? I made $42,000 a year as a relationship manager, a sales manager at Bank of America. That's two steps away from this guy. He is basically the boss of the branch managers. He manages relationship managers, my old role. In his market, he pushes them like hell to oversell the hell out of everything because they have sales goals, and in turn, he has a sales goal too. So he makes a lot of money. Estimates probably somewhere between $120,000 and $200,000 a year this guy makes, in my opinion. It's a bonus job too. You get bonuses based on your quarterly and yearly performance. If I got upwards of $2,500 a quarter for my performance inside a branch, this guy could have netted, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a quarter in sales performance bonuses, being in that role. So he's getting that plus his salary, plus he's taking bribes from these businesses who sorely need the money. Give me a break. It makes me sick. All right. So some more to this story here. It says, according to a law enforcement affidavit filed with the federal charges, Phelps told a co-conspirator that others inside the bank were involved in facilitating the scheme and receiving payoffs as well. No other bank employees appear to have been charged in the alleged bribery scheme, according to public records. Well, let's hope so. At the time of his arrest, Phelps was a New York City market executive for Bank of America Business Banking. That meant he was responsible for much of the bank's lending to mid-sized businesses in America's largest city. Now, the thing with lending to mid-sized businesses, okay, what is a mid-sized business to you? Do you think of Walmart as a big business? Do you think of a little local barbershop as a small business? So what is a middle-sized business to you? I don't have an idea, and I worked at a freaking bank. So I'm going to get to what Bank of America thinks is a middle-sized business in a second. But the fact of the matter is this: if he was taking care of the middle-of-the-road people and he was getting bribes off of them, think about those people now on the onset of COVID-19, the pandemic, when they sorely need the money to be operational. There's tens of thousands of dollars in this dude's bank account, his pocket, or possibly in casinos, hotels, mistresses, who the hell knows? All this money is gone, gone, gone. I want to share with you something from his LinkedIn page here, and it blew my mind as to what middle-sized business is here. So I found his LinkedIn page. I can't believe it's still up, for God's sakes. His picture isn't on the profile picture here, but I found a picture of this gentleman, of course, as you see on my screen, and what a beaut that he is. White-collar criminal wearing a white-collared shirt. Very nice watch. But you take a look at everything here, and of course, you look at his bio, and he worked at Bank of America Merrill Lynch, and he was a senior vice president and marketing executive for New York City commercial banking. Managed a team of 11 relationship managers, 11 people in my old role, responsible for growing and providing commercial banking financial solutions. Not responsible for opening accounts. I'm going to talk like a banker here. We're responsible for growing and providing commercial banking financial solutions for companies with revenues of 10 mm, that's million to you and me, and 100 mm. 10 million to $100 million. And this dude served the needs of medium and middle market companies. Holy crap. A middle of the road company, a medium sized small business to Bank of America is at a minimum $10 million a year in revenue and at maximum $100 million a year in revenue. That's $2.5 million a day or something like that. That's an insane amount of money, and that's middle of the road. That tells you the excess that big banks have here, okay? And it also tells me one thing as a former banker in Las Cruces, New Mexico, where the poverty rate's somewhere like 35%. I live in the state of New Mexico where the poverty rate, it's not that much lower. Those people never had a chance that worked, that banked at my bank. They never had a chance. I had so many small businesses go to me and say, James, I need a business loan. I have this idea, or I want to expand my restaurant. I want to get, new tables, new chairs. I need to get new equipment for the kitchen. And they would call Bank of America's Small Business Solutions, and they get hung up on. I was a part of some of those calls as well. So, a lot of people think, what are small businesses? Well, if medium businesses are $10 million to $100 million, well, then that must mean small businesses are $0 million to $9.9 million, right? The minimum amount to even get a conversation at Bank of America is a minimum of $250,000 a year revenue and 2 years of experience in a business. So you call Bank of America and they go, do you happen to make $250,000 a year or more in revenue for your business? No. Thank you. You have a good day. Hang up on you. And then again, do you have $250,000 of revenue every single year with your business? Yes. How long have you been in business? Well, I've been in business for about a year. I'm sorry, we have to have a minimum 2 years. We can't help you. Have a good day. You have this high criteria that not a lot of people can meet. So maybe 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000 people can meet the criteria to even have a conversation with a Bank of America loan officer. And this dude handles medium-sized businesses, and they're a minimum of $10 million a year in revenue. Unbelievable. And it just speaks to how many people that I try to help over the years with conversations about their business. Bank of America wouldn't even call them back. Or I'd get an email, say, offer them a credit card with $1,000 limit. That's going to do absolutely nothing for their business except add on to the debt that they have. It bugs me. And, the bribe thing is one thing, but the fact of the matter is when I saw that he ran medium markets and they're talking tens of millions of dollars, that's an indictment of the bank right there. If the bank is for the people, as they claim to be, they're only helping the rich ones, it seems like, right? Oh my God, just give me a break here. So I want to get back to the story. And it says Phelps' employer was referred to only as victim bank one, because of course Bank of America is the victim, right? It wasn't anyone else. It's technically a victimless crime in my opinion. You steal a couple $100,000 from someone who got a loan through the bank, and the bank's going to still make money off that loan, or they're going to actually try to recoup it or whatever. Anyway, it says, but Bank of America confirmed Phelps' identity and job title to the Charlotte Observer. Spokesman Bill Heldon, I like to use my banker voice when I quote him, Mr. Phelps has been fired and we are cooperating with the investigation. He declined to say whether the other bank employees have been fired or placed on leave. Well, you better believe that they're going to be freaking placed on leave, because I'll tell you what, if he got found out, everyone else is going to get found out too. The way that I got fired from Bank of America was for something so stupid. I got found out for something I didn't even know that I freaking did, and I got fired. So these people aren't long for this company, for God's sakes. But it does say 3 executives of Starnet, the business that he got the bribe from, pled guilty to crimes related to their roles. They've yet to be sentenced. I'm sure they're going to prison because, it's $1 million loan. There's federal crimes there, And, you scroll down and you talk about, it says the case is unusual for how long the alleged scheme lasted, about 6 years, and for the seniority of the bank executive who was charged. Now, I could speak for this because I worked at the bank for 13 years. Once you work at a place a long time like the bank, you start to develop trust with your customers. You start to develop trust with your coworkers, and you start to develop trust with your bosses. They rely on you, or so they say, to do certain things for the company, for the team, and you go about doing it. So this guy was around for a long time. He was a market executive. It's very rare that he probably saw his direct bosses face to face. Everyone's probably all virtual recently. The cat's away, the mice will play. He's going to figure out a way to do this because he knows the system, because he is part of the system. It's not just him. It's not just him doing this. It's so many other people. So it says Phelps coached the team at StarNet through the scheme, according to an FBI affidavit and court filings related to other charges in the case. And then here's something interesting here. It says mainstream banks such as Bank of America have a high bar on the credit that they give businesses. The banks want to make safe loans to businesses with established cash flows. Prosecutors said in filings that Phelps instructed StarNet on how to cook its books to make it look like one of those loans and to get access to millions of dollars in credit. Now, here's the thing here. No one stopped him. No one stopped him. No one batted an eye, because you know why? He was hitting his goals. Just like people at Wells Fargo, he was hitting his goals. They can care less. They're like, you know what? As long as he hits his goals, we're not really going to pay attention to it. And then, code of ethics starts to kick in. They start doing investigation. They're like, oh man, what do we do? That means people were, complicit in this. People were responsible just as much as this guy for it, because, he was able to do this for a period of years, get hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, and no one was the wiser. I mean, how does a loan get through underwriting? It's not just him. He doesn't have a rubber stamp that says approved. It goes through underwriting. It goes through all these other people. So that means he was paying off other people too. So Bank of America, in essence, is responsible for so much more than just giving these loans to companies that didn't deserve them. They're responsible for neglect. They're responsible for allowing these criminals to do all of this crap on their watch, on their time, making money. And guess what? They were double dipping. They got the bribe money from the small businesses, plus, because they hit their goals, they got bonuses from Bank of freaking America, for God's sakes. They double dipped, and that sucks. That's for all the hardworking bankers out there who work really, really hard, and then they get that. You should really try harder next time. Maybe you could hit 120%. No, this bullshit is rigged. It is rigged for people like this guy right here. And then, it's talking about coaching, for them to, kind of fudge their documents to get through underwriting. Now, here's a full disclosure here. Part of my summertime journey as a notorious banker was I was guiding people and coaching people through PPP loans. Whenever the government had those pandemic loans, it was the wild, wild west there, and banks were ignoring customers. So I didn't show people how to cook the books. Here's what I did. What my coaching was? I showed people how to just make them answer the freaking phone, how to make them answer emails, because they were ignoring these small business customers. Because you know why? They were getting these PPP loans for places like StarNet so they can get some more bribes from them. They were ignoring phone calls, ignoring emails. That way they can continue to work on these $1 million clients. That way they can get a little something on the back end there. Maybe they're not getting $10,000 bribes. Maybe they're getting, tickets to a sporting event, or maybe they're getting, plane tickets to anywhere around the world or something. That's just the way these people think, and that's just the way these people work. So when I hear about coaching, it really makes me sick, because he's coaching a business on how to do something illegal and unethical, and that's just wrong. I was showing customers this summer on how to just have Bank of America freaking call them back, because they weren't getting called back, and it was upsetting. And there were so many people who went out of business. They couldn't get these loans because Bank of America bankers were ignoring these customers because they were focusing on rich clients. And it's just wrong on so many levels. So there's a picture of him again, and then he was texting this guy from StarNet, and he's asking, StarNet saying, should I raise it? Meaning, raise his accounts receivable on the paperwork. And then Phelps said, if you can raise it a bit, it would better. I guess he meant be better. Up the receivable a bit, a couple of hundred thousands. What he did is something that all bankers do. Bankers know whenever they have a hot lead on something, whenever they have a hot home loan, or whenever they have a customer that knows they can give them 5 or 6 accounts, they know from past experiences and how they didn't close the deal on those things, how to make sure the deal gets closed there. I learned Bank of America's mortgage techniques and how they screw over customers by, 1, getting screwed myself because I was almost homeless as a result of Bank of America, and 2, hearing how they negatively talk to my clients. saying, you know what, you don't have quite enough in your bank account. Perhaps if you had this much in your bank account, we'll be able to do it, but unfortunately, we can't do it. It was almost as if these people on the phone were telling them how to come back next conversation with some better information, and possibly they'll get approved then. It always seemed those conversations kind of sounded kind of shady. It was like, you know what? If you work hard on your credit and you go up 10 points and you move some money into your savings account for a few months, we'll have another conversation about this in a few months. That wasn't hoping for a business in the future. That was telling them what they need to do in order to come back to me. That way I can hit my sales goal. Unethical crap. But you know what? Those people didn't take bribes. At least I didn't think so. Kurt Phelps did. Back to the story here as well. So, it doesn't say how the mechanics worked on here, but it says Phelps says in text that cited in an FBI affidavit that he helped Starnet dodge the bank's audits. So he probably talked to Bank of America on behalf of the business, or he said, "Hey, come on into the office and we'll take this conference call together," or whatever. He probably was listening to their every word in order to show this company how to basically screw over Bank of America. So it says that, they were pulling their cash to pay the bribes, the people for this business, and they were hand delivered in FedEx envelopes. And it says Phelps also indicated in text messages that he was paying bribes to others inside the bank, which tells me there was probably 5 to 10 other people who were in on this scheme here. Maybe even auditors, maybe underwriters, maybe all these people behind the scenes that you'll never see at Bank of America. It says in a text message exchange from 2014, man, that's how the FBI knows that they got you. They got text messages from 6 years ago, for God's sakes. Hernandez said Phelps was referring to another bank employee as an ass clown. He says, "Ass clown wants 14. I said no, got him to 10. Hernandez said the numbers referred to a $10,000 bribe in connection with avoiding an audit. So they're bribing auditors $10,000 to let this $1.5 million loan to this business go through. And God knows how much Kurt Phelps got as a result of this. So you hear about all these things. You see it says Phelps oversaw a team of 11 relationship managers. And the credibility of Bank of America is shot. It's shot to hell already. What can I say? It's horrible. And all the years that I worked there, it's just bad. Wells Fargo was this bad. They have no reputation, to be quite frank with you. And here's the thing. Kurt Phelps took advantage of that. He thought that he can be successful. He thought that he can hit his goals, and he can push his relationship managers to hit their goals. How those relationship managers may have been in on this little scheme as well, to hit their goals. That way they can all get their bonus money. That way they can all move up the ranks in Bank of America's little system there. I've told you before, I was 13 steps away from CEO. I was never going to get to CEO of Bank of America. This dude is maybe 10 steps away from that. So judging by his age, he was probably never going to get there as well. But you can wallow in middle management and make a crap ton of money, and that's what he decided to do. He decided to take advantage of businesses that sorely needed the money, the capital, in order to get a chance to stay afloat. And he said, "Hey, here's my handout. Give me some money, and I'll make it happen for you." It's the epitome of everything that's wrong in banking. Now, here's the deal. I don't have any small business ideas except for the Notorious banker idea that I have here, and I'm barely generating money at the moment. But get this. If you have a business in New Mexico and it's James's Barbershop and Chicken and Waffle House, and you go into a bank and you say, "I'd like a loan," they're going to tell you no. That idea isn't worthy of our money because you haven't started the business yet. You don't have the money that shows it's a viable business, and you haven't been in business for 2 years. So I'm going to walk out of that bank defeated, knowing that this bank is never going to give me a chance because it's put all these barriers there to make sure that I never succeed. But people like this market executive, mind you, a market executive at Bank of America fired me from my job. So I know all about dudes like this. I know all about ladies like this. I know how they tick. That's just the way they tick. Knowing that they were pushing their relationship managers to hit their goals. This guy was trying to hit his goals, but he was still on the take on top of that. It's everything that's wrong. This person would never talk to someone who wants to operate James's Haircuts and Chicken and Waffle House. He'll never talk to that person because they'll never get to him because he knows that they don't have the money to pay him off for his time. I made $22.50 an hour at Bank of America my last year there, and I earned every single penny of it. I loved my customers. I loved when people would go in with small business ideas, even though I couldn't help them because I knew Bank of America couldn't help them. I loved listening to them. I loved just hearing them talk about their idea, their dream. Do you really think that this guy gives a shit about their dreams? Absolutely not. He stole from them. He stole from the bank. And frankly, even though I hate Bank of America, he stole from the bank's reputation, what little that they have, and it's just horribly wrong. People like him deserve to go to prison for a very long time, and people like that don't ever go to prison because they'll either kill themselves or they'll have a little 2 month stint in a country club prison, but they'll be allowed to leave for work till 9 to 5, and then go back in at 5 and just go to sleep in prison. I mean, that's the way that this stupid system works, and more people like him need to get arrested because you know what? With COVID-19 and the PPP loan thing that was going on this summer at both Wells Fargo and Bank of America, talking to customers who, people were excited to do these loans and say, "Hey, we'll call you back on Tuesday." Tuesday came, the bank never called. Wednesday came, never called. The customer emailed them on Thursday saying, "Hey, you said you'd call on Tuesday. What happened?" They didn't respond to email. And then all of a sudden, the next Monday, they go, "Oh, hey, I forgot I had 2 vacation days. I'm sorry. We'll work on your loan. I just got to catch up on some paperwork, but we'll work on your loan this week." They weren't answering your calls or emails because they were working on Starnet Solutions or whatever, a big loan where they probably got a handout or they were probably going to hit their goal so they could make more money for themselves. I made $22.50 an hour and I loved every bit of it because I worked hard for my customer every single chance I get. This guy did not work hard for them. He worked hard for himself to make himself money. Damn the consequences, and that's why he deserves to be arrested. I wanted to show something before I go. I never stole from Bank of America. I never did. I'm a lot of things, but I'm an ethical person at heart because I really believe in what's right. I never took anything that wasn't mine at Bank of America until the last day that I worked at Bank of America, my last branch, August 7th, 2018. There was not a lot of customers because everyone knew we were closing, and they started just throwing stuff away. It's like, we can't take all this stuff to the other bank. Let's just throw it in the dumpster here. So we had these big boxes and we're throwing stuff away in the dumpster. And I went to go throw something away. And I was like, we're throwing away like good office supplies? I stole this stapler. It's probably what, $20, $30 stapler. It's from Staples. And what can I say? I like this. I loved it. I love the fact that it had an automatic stapler. I used to tell my customers, like, it's so cool that I have an automatic stapler in my office because it meant that I was important, or at least I thought I was important. And, seeing a stapler like this was something that just said that you made it, that they're willing to invest, $20, $30 in you to allow you to staple your crap, more professionally or whatever. They were just throwing it away in a big, gigantic box in a dumpster. And I took it out of the garbage. I put my arms in the garbage in a full suit, and there's other garbage or food and whatnot. I pulled it out. I went to my boss. I said, "Do you think I could have this?" And she laughs at me and she says, "Why do you want it? You guys are throwing it away. It's perfectly good. I used it all the time over here, and I won't use it over there, but I could use it at home or something." And she's like, "Yeah, James, you can get it." I also took a pizza cutter and a corkscrew as well for some reason. I never stapled any papers in the 2.5 years since I left Bank of America. And you know what's funny about it? Even though she said it was okay, I was looking for something in my ottoman, my storage ottoman here, and I found this. And I'm like, damn, I'm a thief because I didn't pay for it and now it's mine. Bank of America, I copped stealing your automatic stapler. This guy will never cop to telling you the whole story about how much money he stole from people, how much money he took in bribes and kicked it back to other people as well to facilitate these bad loans to business customers that probably needed them but didn't deserve them according to your qualifications. There's so many small businesses out there nationwide and worldwide that sorely needed those loans, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. You guys wouldn't even answer their calls or answer their emails. Instead, you let a predator like this guy get hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, still get a paycheck from you, still get bonus money for facilitating those loans where he took bribes. And you have the decency to call yourself a bank and you care about your customers, this guy's misdeeds are proof positive that you do not give a damn about your customers. I stole a stapler. If I would have stole this during actual working hours, I probably would have been fired. Hell, I got fired for something a lot less than the cost of this stapler. I've told the story 100 times now. This guy could have paid off my house, paid off my wife's car, allowed me to go on multiple trips with the money that he took from Bank of America customers. And it took years to find out what a fraud and what a crook he is. Bank of America, shame on you. Burn in hell, all of you. My name is James, the Notorious Banker. You can subscribe to my Patreon page at patreon.com/notoriousbanker, where for as little as a $1 subscription, you can help the Notorious Banker fight back against big banks. I have a TikTok page now at Notorious Banker on TikTok, thenotoriousbanker.com, and of course on Twitter at BankBetterGuy. Guys, it's a crazy world out there, and there are some good people who work at banks, and then there's Kurt Phelps here, who took bribes to help customers. Think about that for a second. Think about the teller. There's one teller in the bank right now making, very low wages, getting yelled at for all the crap that is wrong with Bank of America. This guy never meets with customers directly, and he's taking freaking bribes from them and makes a six-figure salary. And it took years to finally get him arrested. You know what I'm doing is right with Notorious Banker with stuff like that. My name is James, Notorious Banker. Thank you so very much for listening to me. Go to hell, Bank of America.